Welcome back to the Corner Faster, Get Fast series. We are at Watkins Glen in the Porsche Cayman GT4 car, and we're using the iRacing simulator to get up to speed for our Champ Car Boxster race at the end of this month. This video is a bonus warm-up session for really the next video, which is all about getting up to speed on the tire and using all of the available grip potential in the tire in and out of each corner. So this warm-up exercise is actually all about setting a speed limit, basically just a manual self-enforced speed limit around the track. Getting started out at 60 to 70 absolute maximum kph for the outlap. And the point of this is to take in the scenery, the reference points that we just reviewed, the textures of the curbing and the track and everything at very low speeds, and let it all just sink in. The next lap, we'll skip ahead here. We're going to move up 20 kph. So we're going to go from 60 kph, maybe 70 kph max, all the way up to 80 kph. And it's going to still seem extremely slow. But now those visual references that we just scouted are going to start to flow together just a little bit more quickly and connect the dots maybe a little bit more easily now with the car moving with a little bit more pace through each corner, but still just taking in the scenery, all the reference points, and everything at a very low speed for this next lap. So we fast forward through this lap. This is going to end up being just under 4 minutes to get around the track, with the first out lap taking over 5 minutes to get around. Notice on this lap is I'm still not up to actually the grip potential of the tires in any corner around the track. And it's really not until this next lap where we increase the speed up over 100 kph, going 100 to 110. And we're still way under the limit here in the bus stop. We're still way under the limit through the S's, the outer loop, the toe. But coming into the heel, start to notice that we're approaching sort of the pre-limit of grip of the tires. We could start to feel a little bit of movement in the tire, not sliding, just a little bit of rolling over, feeling the stiffness of the sidewall, where before I wasn't getting any of that feedback. So now we're starting to mix, basically taking in the scenery and the reference points around the track with starting to find the minimum speed, or really the maximum minimum speed that we can carry through each corner. On this next lap, we're going to add another 20 kph, jumping up now essentially to pretty fast highway speeds in the 120s. And again, still way below the limit in the S's, but moving on up to the bus stop, actually have to at least think about it when navigating around the curbing here. And if I was in a lower potential car, I would definitely just have to take this all out. We're getting pretty close to the speeds we can expect to carry in the Champ Car Boxster through there. But again, now we're way under the limit through turn 5, but turn 6 gets pretty interesting at this speed. It's a question whether it's actually going to stick and hold the whole way through. And it looks like that's going to be pretty close to the limit as far as the minimum speed in that corner. Obviously, you want to carry a little bit more in and out, but as far as speed just before the apex, that's it. And here in the toe, go past the limit actually at that speed, have to drop below 120 in order to keep it together. So now I'm starting to find the limit and the min speeds in a few different corners around the track, and I'm definitely gonna have to slow down just a little bit for the heel. Yeah, pushing out wide, easing off under 120, and then back up again. And then off camber is even slower, slowest corner on the track. So now things are getting a bit interesting. Still under the limit here through 10 and 11. But if we move on up to turn 1, we're very close to the limit here, pretty much right on the money for how much speed can be carried through the apex. So now we're going to add another 20 kph up into the 140s. This is about 90 miles an hour. And again, under the limit quite a bit through the S's, but coming up to the bus stop, it's not going to be a problem to get through, but I do have to start taking a straighter line in order to get it through, turning in at the beginning of the thicker white pavement on the left, and then using the first curbing all the way. Also starting to get near the limit, although not to it in the outer loop. And again, just like last time, we found that about one in the 120s is the limit, so I do have to slow down to make turn 6, and I'll have to slow down again just a little bit to make the toe. And really all I'm doing is basically going to the end of the point where I would threshold brake and then just beginning a little bit of brake, basically trail braking only with this particular speed limit. Same thing down in the heel, maybe just a little bit more braking. Bleed off about 25, 30 kph and then speed back up a little bit. Again, just trail braking. Cooked it a little bit too much there into the off camber. But finally through turn 10 and 11, it sticks no problem. Well, anyway, it sticks no problem in 10. I think 11, this is about it for how much pace can be carried through here. Yep, that's pretty close to the limit. And then through turn 1, last time we definitely reached the limit. So at this point, we're going to have to slow down a little bit again. And by the way, that last lap time at 90 miles an hour was a 217. Now we're going to jump up to the 160s. Again, we're still under the limit here through the S's, but we are going to be very much at the limit into the bus stop. So this is about as much speed as can be carried in, but probably going to need to bleed off just a little bit of speed to get the car to stick once we turn in. Yeah, to get it turned back to the left, just a little bit of speed needs to be bled off below that 160 mark. And just below it again in the outer loop. So now we're pretty much on the limit for the rest of the lap, at least in the middle of the corners, just working on trail braking in and out of each corner. So if we fast forward here all the way up to turn 10, I think this is the only corner where we haven't yet found the limit besides the S's. And it looks like we're pretty much right about there at 160. And I have to bleed off a little bit of speed to make turn 11. So now let's jump up and add another 20 kph, this time up into the 180s. And by the way, that last lap time with a speed limit just over 160 kph was a 206. Now here in the 180s, definitely have to bleed off a bit of speed to make the bus stop and actually every other corner around the track. So at this point, we're driving at the limit pretty much everywhere except lifting on a couple of the longer straightaways, which Helps take some of the heat out of the car when approaching the corner and can still make it a little bit easier to find that limit and flow through each corner as part of this exercise. So we'll keep moving ahead now. Again, with the speeds now just over 110 miles an hour, maybe 115. We get down to a 2 flat. So don't let anybody tell you that you only need top speed here at Watkins Glen or on a 2-minute lap. We just did it not exceeding more than like 115, 120 miles an hour at any point around the track, although this car is ridiculous otherwise. So anyway, now we're adding another 20 kph up to 200. So this is now about 125 miles an hour. And again, we're on the limit everywhere except the S's. And just taking off a little bit of speed at the end of the back straight and at the end of the front straight. So we can fast forward through this lap, and we're almost all the way up to speed now. So we're going to add another 20 kph here, heading into the S's. And even though we're pushing as hard as we can, we're just under the limit at turn 3 at this point in the S's, the left-hander. But instead of shifting to 6, we'll just hang out in 5th here into the bus stop one more time, taking it a little bit easier to get the rhythm of the braking, transition into the corner down. And again, now we're basically just driving all out for the rest of the lap. And finally, we're gonna, by the way, last lap was a 155.6. And now finally we're gonna uncork it and go all the way. Let the car all the way out on the straightaway, going over 230 kph. Looks like a top speed of about 234. And at this point, I'm starting to get a pretty decent feel for the car. I don't have any 1Xs or anything because I've been taking my time to get up to speed and not push the limits or anything really until really easing into them, one corner at a time as we start to progressively find the minimum speed for each corner. And now I'm just trying to pull it together for a single hot lap. So anyway, this exercise is definitely good as a one-time exercise for scouting a track, but also can be good as a warm-up exercise to start a longer practice session. And you don't necessarily have to take this much time doing it, 20 kph at a time. You could even do one gear at a time, just take 4 or 5 laps, getting all the way up to speed. But it helps to start slow and then gradually build pace, especially when trying to learn the rhythm of a track. So that's it for now. Stick around for the next video, which is going to be all about driving at the limit of grip of the tires in and out of each corner at Watkins Glen. And thanks for watching.